Hello? What's up, everybody? Hold up. There we go, or people in the chat, can you hear me? Clean up a little bit. Hello, is this thing on? Yes, hi, what up? What's up, people? What's up, Katrin? What's up, Pia? What's up, Clarissa? Sergio? Hello, what's up? Hello to everybody. Today, people, we're doing amazing stuff. We're going crazy with this stream. Hold up. Okay. Let me check the music volume. Is that okay? Guys, ready for the face reveal? Boop. There I am. What's up, people? Hello. Hello. You guys having a nice evening? Let me get set up for sure here. Oh. Mouse wires everywhere. Sheesh. What up, people? You guys ready for some Unreal Engine? Let's go. Welcome to the live stream, people. For the people that have not been here before, my name is Onua and I'm gonna be your instructor for today. We're doing Unreal Engine, and tradition around here is all questions are more than welcome. If you have a question, there's probably multiple other people with the same question, so you should just ask away, use the chat, interact. That's why we do it live, right? So we can help each other out. Okay. So I see some familiar faces. Are there anyone sitting in the chat that's never used Unreal Engine before? How are you all doing with that? I expect there to be, that's why we're doing it for complete beginners. Hold up. Only the last project, the jump map. Okay, so for today's live stream, so I don't know what's going on with the whole bridge thing still, and I'm not sure we could get it to work for this live stream. So the plan is just be listening and drawing on the side. You're more than welcome, Clarissa. Very little, Sergio. Okay, so plan for today is, because I thought it was super fun doing a jumping map last time, I think we should do something similar, but we'll really lean into making stuff. So we should be able to use Unreal to make a map, and we can make 3D assets for that map, like simple stuff, you know, and really get to sort of use the whole package, all the stuff we've been through, you know, make a little asset, put it in, maybe make some spikes, that kind of stuff. I think it would be super fun to kind of use the stuff we know already, see how far we can get. Sounds good? Hell yeah, let's do it. Okay. And if you're new to the stream, feel free to say hello in the chat. Just let me know that you're alive and well. I do love interacting with everybody. So, first of all, guys, just try to see if your Unreal Engine works, and I hope you guys have tried it already. So if you launch it, you should get to this point. And I'll chat a little bit about what Unreal Engine is and sort of wait for people to get set up a little bit. Okay. I hope you guys are already set up with Unreal, because I won't wait too long with this step. So let me know if you guys are actually able to launch it and if things are running smoothly and well. So once you get to this little launcher here, before I start talking about all the cool stuff, we're going to be using a preset to start with. And it's going to be the same one as last time. So we go into the games section, and then we can use the third person preset. Okay? So you can call it whatever you want. 5, Bootcamp, cool stuff. Oh, no spaces. Okay, whatever, you create it. And so I just need to make sure that everybody is able to get to this point, that there's no issues with the Unreal thing. So you guys should all be trying that. See if things are set up correctly on your PC and all that jazz. Whoop. What do you guys think of the music, by the way? Kind of chill, huh? Let me know if it's too quiet or too loud and all that. So everybody, just see if you can get to this point. Let me know in the chat if it's like running smoothly, if you're having issues, you need some time and all that. Okay. How you all doing? If no one writes anything, I'll just keep going. It works great, so far. Hell yeah, Katrin, let's go. Okay. That's fine. Great so far. Hell yeah, okay. What about you, Björn, Sergio? Are you guys able to launch it? How's it going? So I'll just talk a little bit in general while people get it up and running, because it might take a little bit longer if you have a PC, like a normal one. This PC is a bit super, so yes, ready. Okay, so for the people that haven't sat in Unreal Engine before, it's loading, it's fine. So I'll talk like general stuff right now. So Unreal Engine is similar to other software that you've been using so far in the bootcamp, like Blender and stuff like that. So we have our viewport in the middle and an outliner to the right. Trying to remember the controls. Don't worry, Björn, we'll go over it, right? So it's similar in that vein. The controls in Unreal Engine, the ones I would recommend you use, is a little bit different. So to move around in this space, you hold right click and then you use your WASD. Okay, so that's for you, Björn. And for you, Sergio, don't worry, I'll just go over that kind of stuff again. So Unreal Engine, what's the big deal, you know, why can't we use Blender and all that? So Unreal Engine, hold up, let me turn down the music a tiny bit. Unreal Engine is mainly a real-time rendering, like for our purpose, right? It's a real-time rendering engine, and you can also program stuff to play with, right? If you want to make a game or something like that. So from a 3D arts perspective, what it does really well is that it shows you an image right away without you having to sit and wait for it to render. So you can imagine if you're playing a game, you don't want to sit and wait for every frame to update, right? So Unreal Engine, it takes a lot of shortcuts when it comes to lights and that kind of stuff, and it makes it so you can just move around this 3D space freely, and you don't need to wait for the PC to calculate everything, right? It just does it instantly, and you kind of get this effect where it just feels natural and you don't have to wait for anything. Okay, and this is not only useful for games. Unreal Engine is also useful for film, where it's important for you to have a result right away. So if you're working on maybe like an indie film or something like that, and you don't have huge resources to spend on a render farm or something like that, you can just go into Unreal Engine and you can quickly visualize, because the lights will update quickly and everything will look good very quickly as well. Okay. For our purpose today, I'm still thinking about it. It depends a little bit what people are feeling. If we want to make another jumping puzzle, but go a little bit cooler this time and model props, or we could make like a little room or something like that. Okay. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little map, okay, a little level. So it could be a level design or a jumping level, sorry. And so we use Blender with Unreal Engine to make these kind of things. So Blender will be the place where we model our assets, because Blender is very good at that, and then we bring them into Unreal Engine And inside Unreal Engine is where we can play our game, because it's very good at showing stuff in real time, right? And we can make controls. So if we click this little play button up here, you'll see that we'll spawn a character that can move around in this 3D space. Okay, and we can jump with it and all that. And this is basically, like, Blender is not set up for this kind of stuff, so it would be like impossible to do that. But in Unreal Engine it's very easy. So I hope that kind of makes sense what the difference between something like Blender and Unreal Engine is. Unreal Engine is a game engine, and this is kind of the place where we put our assets and play with them, walk around them, see them in 3D space. Okay? Let me know if people are... Let me know if it's launching still or if it's loading. It might take a while if it's your first time launching Unreal. Okay. So with this kind of mindset where you think of Unreal Engine as like the collecting place for the assets that we make in Blender or ZBrush or whatever. So one of the main components that we're going to use here in the UI is the content browser. So this is like our little library for all the stuff that we're gonna make. So if we make an asset like a vase inside Blender, we put it into our library and then we can pull it out into our scene. Okay. So, alright Sergio, did you get the whole moving around thing? So hold right click, WASD to move around the space. Okay. And then you can use the scroll wheel while holding right click to go slower or faster. Yes. Okay, great. And you can navigate the space. Test it while I talk. Alright, great, great, great. So we're set up. Okay. So today's stream is going to be a little bit freestyle, and feel free to come with suggestions for what you guys want to see, what you guys want to do. So for basic movement and stuff like that, Sergio, have you used Blender before? I hope that the people watching have used Blender. It will make it a little bit easier to understand stuff. But while you're moving around your UI, you have all these boxes and stuff you can select. Okay, so to move something around, you just select it, and then you click this translate icon up here, or you click W, and then you can move it on these little arrows. Yes, I have, but a little bit. Okay, that's great. A little bit is more than enough for this. Okay, so you have your gizmo, just like you have in Blender as well, and you can move it around on these arrow keys. Okay. And then you have your rotate, and I'll go over this quick because I assume people have been in Blender a little bit. If there's something I go over too quick, let me know in the chat, people, and I'll go over it again. So E, you can hover over it and it'll give you information. E to rotate stuff, W to move it. Then you can sort of do whatever you want. Okay, and then R is for scaling, so W-E-R, and then you can scale it. So you can move stuff over and then scale it to fit whatever you need. Okay, so just play with these a little bit, get used to it. So let's say we want to make a bridge right here, we can. Boop, and we can scale it up. And now if we wanted to click the green button up here, we can play, and we can go walk up here. So you see? Kind of like that. It's like the basic controls, right? So you might have noticed a little bit that it's snapping. And if you want to disable that, it's right here. There's like for the movement, for the rotation, and for the scale. All of them can snap to like a grid. But if you turn it off, you get a smooth rotation instead of like a jagged, snappy one. Okay, the snappiness is useful for when you're in a grid. You want to make things fit together. And that's pretty much like the very basic controls of it. Out here in the outliner is exactly the same as Blender. You can select stuff in the outliner and hide it. or move it or whatever you need to. You can see what you have selected. You can left click and then shift left click something else to move multiple objects at the same time. And if you've used Blender before, this is all super familiar. Okay. Okay, so I think we should do something similar to last time, because it was really fun and I enjoyed doing that. I hope you all enjoyed it too. One thing I can show you before we get to work is kind of like the real-time light and all that I was talking about. So on the right side there's some folders made for us already, and one of these folders contain the directional light. You can actually see it as an object here. Let's see if we can find the sun in the sky. It's up there. And you can literally rotate that. Okay, and you can see all the shadows change in real time, and you can see the sun interacting with the clouds and all that. That's kind of one of the things that make Unreal Engine so interesting to work with. And how well this works might depend a little bit on your graphics card and all that. Okay. Is everything making sense for people so far? It shouldn't be too complicated if you used Blender before already. Like, it should be right up the same sort of principle and idea of that. It shouldn't be too much different or too different from that. These are sort of the basic tools that we'll be using. Okay. So I think we should work with this box that we have right now from the very beginning. And what I'm going to design is a little, almost like a playgroundish jumping puzzle. A little space where basically we jump on stuff and we get to like a goal or something like that, okay? So we can't make something that's overly complicated when it comes to like game design. Like, this stream is more meant to be an extension of the stuff we've learned already. So when it comes to making 3D assets and that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of keeping in mind, it would be fun to make like a quick little bridge asset for this stream. So let's see if we can actually use that a little bit. So we'll make some bridges across stuff. So I think what people should do now, just to get used to the controls and using Unreal Engine, just sort of design a little crawl space or a little jumping puzzle with a goal in mind, okay? So put blocks, put ramps, do all those things, and make it so it'll be a little bit fun to run across. Okay. So Control C and Control V to copy stuff over. Okay, and then we can move this up, and then we can scale the ramp accordingly. So I'm just using the hotkeys, W, E, R, and we kind of get this. We can move it over here. So what I'm doing right now is basically I'm blocking out a level, right? So I'll use basic primitive shapes like cubes and cylinders and ramps and all this to sort of figure out what I want the space to look like. And then once we have that down, we can start designing the assets to fit that space. So let's say we wanted like an Indiana Jones style drawbridge here. Okay, well, we need to figure out the dimensions of that drawbridge. Like, where does it go? Where does it end? Okay. And then we can sort of go into Blender and create something that fits that. We can take our player spawn here and move it over. Okay. So now that we spawn, we kind of are met with this little bridge sort of thing here. So you can sort of follow what I'm doing, and feel free to come up with your own thing too. I think it'll be fun to do a bridge. And the thing about Unreal is that it's so easy to just pick up and work with, right? Things just sort of work out the box, and that's basically what we're doing for this stream. It's not too much technical how-to and all that. It's just getting familiar with the program and using it. And actually using it is also going to mean that we're going to be making stuff for it. Okay, so we can copy this over. So I selected both of them, Control C, Control V, and here might be useful to turn on snapping, so we can rotate it 180 degrees. Turn it off again. And then we can sort of see what that looks like, the actual space. We have a little jump here. Okay, so definitely way too easy. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend everything. So what I'm thinking so far is we're gonna design this little bridge in cubes, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to actually model something that follows the design that we've come up with. Can you move an object while moving the point of view? You cannot, I think. No, it's like one action or the other. What are you thinking? So what is the idea for it, Björn? What is it that you need? Maybe there's another way to sort of do what it is that you're thinking about. What's up, Christy? Hello. Glad you're enjoying it. As to the purpose of these streams, like, for me personally, like, I could do a step-by-step, this is how you do stuff, but it just becomes so dry, you know, and what's the point of that? I kind of just wanna make a stream where you guys can get into just using the software, and from there you can look up whatever how-to tutorials that you need online, right? The most important part is just getting into the software, and if I can do that in 1.5 hours for you all, I think that's a great success. Like, it's copy, paste, move, move, move. So if you want to do a long distance, so I'll just move away and then copy paste it. I might be misunderstanding what it is exactly you're trying to do behind. But yeah, as far as I know, there's not like a, so you want to move it while moving your camera, I guess. But I don't know if that's exactly possible. It might actually be. No, I actually think it is. Hold up. Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, okay. So if you hold down shift while you're moving it, you'll move with the object. So you can kind of do that. So hold shift while you're moving it. If you do need that. It's kind of rare that that's a super useful thing, but you know, if you need it, you need it. So I kind of have this cool space here. How about we block out some decorations for it, you know, make it extra cool. So I'm thinking if I go with like an Indiana Jones type theme, I'll go ahead and make some kind of cool pillars, right? Shift is perfect, great, alright. Okay. So maybe that kind of, you know, so if we go here, and this is sort of the design thing you can think about, when we see these huge verticals, like these big pillars, it makes us feel a little bit smaller, you know, and that's kind of making the jumping puzzle a little bit more scary. If I sort of remove these pillars and we play it, no, it doesn't quite give the same feeling, and that's like a design theory thing, right? You know, if there's a big thing to contrast with us, then we start feeling a lot smaller. So we can keep these pillars and copy them over to the other side. So you can design your bridge to be like as difficult or as easy as you want, whatever it is that you feel. So if we make it thinner, it'll be even more scary, right? Like, oh shit, that's dangerous. If you want to, you could even do something like this. Okay. Obviously, the more complexity you add, like the longer it will take to model it all out. And if you're feeling like modeling a bunch, then definitely go for it. So I'm thinking some kind of central pillar here. Let's see if we can make something cool. So that feels a little bit dangerous. And now it's not playable, but we'll try to make sure that it's playable once we start modeling it. Okay. So like something that goes up here. So we'll make like a, basically like a tower kind of in the middle of our bridge. Is there a crouch? I don't think so by default. There isn't really a sprint either. But these are the things that you will end up like creating inside the engine later when you figure out how to do that. And there's a bunch of good tutorials on YouTube about how to do all these things. So for this stream, we're just keeping it like super basic from a 3D point of view. So only modeling and texturing and creating the world, that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's people that love doing that kind of like creating a whole movement system inside Unreal Engine. Would like to create a small hole and be stuck. Yeah, no, I mean, it is a good idea, for sure. But then you would have to make some kind of crouch mechanic. And I'm sure there is one out there, but they'll have to be for like a different time, or you can figure it out after the stream too, Björn, for sure. So I'm not worrying too much about stuff being perfect. That stuff we can do inside Blender. Right now I'm just figuring out something like fun to play with. Just figuring out the general vibe, the general shapes, all that. Really just figuring out the dimensions of our set. Feels like such a scary door to fall, like go through, right? Because the top is like gonna crack or fall on you or something. Okay, I quite like that. That's a little bit dangerous. Okay, I hope you guys are all coming up with guys and girls are coming up with cool ideas for your little map. I would like maybe sort of like a bridge theme for today, right? But you don't have to go with that, that's just what I'm going with. And in a moment I'll be going into Blender to show how I'll actually start modeling something that could be this little room here. Okay, so, you know, you all can look at what I'm doing, you can follow what I'm doing, and you can keep working on your map and all that. But now I'll show kind of how to take assets that you've made and put them into our scene, because that's a huge part of Unreal Engine, right? So some people, they only take assets that other people have made, which is totally a legit way to work, you know? If you don't want to model stuff, you can just take stuff that people have made already and make a level or a game or a scene out of that. For this stream, I'd like to make a little bit of stuff ourselves too. So hold up, I'll go ahead and launch a scene. So this is just for sort of demonstration purposes. Like you could be using any kind of 3D model here. So, oops. What we need to do is basically select everything. Okay. We go into the object mode and we gotta select all our, what's happening? So we can click B to drag a box around everything. We don't really need our lights. Okay. B is like for box select. And then we can export this whole thing into Unreal Engine. Okay. So to do that, you click File, Export, and then we gotta export it in a file format that Unreal Engine understands, and it understands most of them. For now, we'll use FBX. It's like, in my experience, the most commonly used one. Okay, and we can save it somewhere. So just for demonstration purposes, I'll save it in here, Bootcamp, and then we'll call it 5 assets. Okay, and there's a bunch of export options here. So File, Export, FBX with whatever you have selected. And then we can say limit to only the selected objects, and we're going to do that. Or it's just going to export the whole scene, which might be fine too. And then we just click Export. Okay. And if we go look, oops. If we go look here in our Unreal 5 assets folder that we just created, we have an FBX file. Let's go. Okay. And now with this FBX file in our documents or whatever, we can take it, left click, and then drag into their scene. Okay. And we can maybe make a folder for it first. We can right click in our little library here. If you don't have the content browser, you find it up here in the Windows. And then content browser, you open it up. You can dock these around just by left click and dragging. You can put it at the bottom. Okay. And then you can right click, make a new folder, and we can call it imported assets. Okay, and no spaces inside Unreal Engine. Imported _ assets. Open it up, and then we can left click, drag and drop. Okay, there's a bunch of settings here, don't need to worry too much about it right now. Then say import all and see how that goes. And it might import everything separately, yeah. And we might not exactly want that. So you can click on one end, shift click in the other, and just click delete. So we gotta enable a setting in here somewhere, one that combines all our meshes. So these are the things that you sort of need to look for. Let's see. Hold up. So there's a setting right here called Combine Meshes. So it's in Mesh, Advanced, Combine Meshes. And you could also do this inside Blender. You may already mention this, but is there a hotkey for front, side, top view? Like in Blender. Okay, hold up. Let me import these. So Combine Meshes and then import. So we still get all the different materials that we had, but now we have this little goal here that is our beach scene. How cute is that? And it comes in with the lights and everything. So it is missing the painted textures that we had. But that's like a whole nother setup. We gotta import the textures and all that. But for now, this is fine for us to work with. Okay. Oops. So for the front side back view. Okay, Christy, for the front side back view, what you do is you click this little button up here. Okay, and then you can see your right, your back, your top view. If that's what you need. And it kind of comes in this wireframe mode, and you can change it up here, like lit, unlit, wireframe, all that. You can maximize it. So right here. Okay, Björn, so if you want to import something that has a lot of different parts, once you put it in as an FBX, you'll be met with like this option box. Oh, okay, well, let me just... I'll change the name so it thinks we're importing a new asset. So under the mesh tab right here, there's an advanced options. Okay, and when you open that one up, there's a little tab called combine meshes, and you just put that to true, and then when you import it, it'll be as one object. You'll still get all the different materials. Got it, nice, great, great, great. Okay, making progress on the Unreal Engine knowledge front. Okay. So, how do we go further with what we have? So let's say that we're happy with your design here. Maybe we can delete some of the stuff that's left over that we don't need. Oops. Like this stuff, just clean up our scene a little bit. Okay. So now we have the scene and we're like, well, let's think about how do we actually model stuff for it to make it look like something that's more than just blocks, you know? Let's say we wanted to make a whole game. I wonder if we can make a little staircase. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. Can we make a cool little staircase to get back up? If we fall? Yeah, we totally can do that. Okay, so let's say we want to make something that fits what we have here. Like we want to make these pillars in 3D and the bridge and everything. A good way to do that is actually exporting the whole level as an FBX. So what we did before was we exported as an FBX from Blender into Unreal Engine, but now we can go the other way around and we can export the level we have as an FBX into Blender. So back and forth using the programs for what they're good at. So let's call this one level layout 1. Okay, let's just export it. And then we can make a new Blender scene. And it's okay, this might feel a little bit fast, but I'm just expecting you all to sort of understand what I'm doing, and then you guys can take your time doing the same thing afterwards. So in Blender you can also import FBXs. So what I did was I clicked File, Import FBX. Okay. and then you can import the level layout. So we get this little bit messy like layout here, but what this enables us to do is we can see all the sizes of stuff, and we can model something that fits to it. So that's super useful in that sense. Is this sort of making sense in how that would work? So let's say, for example, we wanted to make a pillar. So we can make a mesh. In this case, let's say we want a cylinder. We can go ahead and place it. And just get the right size. Somewhat right size here. Something that is useful to do is, to make it a bit easier to work with, is we can take our whole layout. Hold on. So we can take our whole layout, and then in the outliner you can right click and click New Collection. New Collection. Blender. Don't fail me here. Why do you not want to make a new collection? My sunny cabin looks very weird when it's back imported in Blender after edit. Oh yeah. So stuff will look weird. I'm not super surprised, but it's not. Yeah, there's a lot going on, right? But this is just like, we won't export this back into Unreal Engine. We'll just make assets in the right shape and the size to fit it, and then import those assets into Unreal Engine. This whole thing right now is just for us to see how big the stuff we model needs to be, right? That kind of idea. So I have no idea why this is not letting me actually make a collection with it. Okay. So we can select everything here, like the whole layout, and then we can left click and drag in our outliner and put it into a different collection. So how about we do that? So we can hide and unhide the whole Unreal, export the layout when we want to. So we can even go in and rename this and call it layout. Okay. So we can move the pillar. So if you remember from last time, you can go into edit mode, click this face, move it down, go back into object mode, and now we have a pillar that fits the right scale, right? And now we can go into the outliner and hide the layout, and now we have this to work with. Okay, shade auto smooth, and now we can make whatever kind of pillar we want, because we know it fits the right scale. So we can scale it up, and then you can just make whatever, you know. And if you guys want to, you can spend all the time in the world after the stream doing this kind of things. But for now, I'll just sort of make something very quick so we can get along with the whole layout. So I'll make like a very basic sort of pillar looking thing, so we can extrude this if we want to. Put an edge loop, extrude, whoop. Just do some kind of shape, whatever, just for demonstration purposes. So using all the tools that you guys were taught last time, we can quickly get something. can even make this pillar a little bit. Okay. So now we have sort of a shape, right? And you can imagine us importing this into Unreal Engine. It'll fit the map that we have. Okay, we can shift select all of them and then join them together, and now we have one pillar. So something to keep in mind when you're working with like an engine like Unreal Engine, you can make something very easy for yourself. When you're importing an asset and you have to move it around and rotate it and all that inside Unreal Engine, it will look at something called the origin point, okay? So it's a pivot point basically. So if you want to rotate this pillar and move it, all the stuff will happen from this one point. But you can imagine if you wanted to move this thing around on the floor, it would be really useful to have the pivot down at the bottom. So you can go do that by going into edit mode and select like a bottom piece right here, and then Shift S. You can move some. Okay, this might be a little bit complicated. You know, if you know what I'm talking about, it's alright. If you don't know, it's also fine. But you can do cursor to selected. Okay. So you move the 3D cursor to your selection, and then you can click F3 and then just say origin to 3D cursor. Okay, and now you've moved the pivot. So you can rotate it and scale it from this point. So once it's on the floor, you can scale it up and down and it won't go away from the floor. So kind of like that. Okay. Let's say we're happy with this pillar. We could duplicate it around, but we can also do that inside Unreal Engine. So let's get to work on this bridge a little bit. Hold up, let me just bevel this. Control B to bevel. You can use the scroll wheel. More like a reference. Yeah, exactly. More like a reference. Okay, let's add a cube to start with. Okay, we can hide our layout as we see fit, and then go into edit mode. And sort of recreate what it is that we have already. Like that. Now I'm doing super simple modeling for the stream. Okay, so you can imagine if we hide the layout, what we have here. So if I show the edit mode, I just put an edge loop here so we can extrude here. Okay. Then we can move the bottom down. And so if we start hiding the parts from Unreal Engine, you can kind of see what we have now as this little shape here. Okay. And then we can add a cube for this main part, and then slowly we can build up the whole level as we see fit. So maybe this bridge, you know, let's make it a little bit more interesting. So what if we made some little cylinders that it's held up by. So we can kind of make like a little railing. So sort of turn this into an actual bridge a little bit. So Shift D to duplicate stuff around. Maybe move these down a little bit. Okay. And then, you know, this platform can also be held up by these little stilts. Okay, oops. You know, I'm not being too careful about my design here. I'm just getting something down for demonstration purposes, like usual. Because I mean, obviously, when you're doing something for real, there's a lot of time and energy that goes into this step, right? Like designing stuff to make it believable. How do you actually do that, right? That's a whole science in itself. So one thing we can do is we can make some kind of planks here. So if we wanted to make this plank fatter, it's gonna be hard because it's gonna like rotate. So let's go with the rotate tool. That might actually kind of works. So let's just go for that with the gizmo. Can make it a little bit fatter. And go from the side view by using the numpad. And then I can take this plank and just bevel all the edges. Shade smooth, shade auto smooth. Okay, never mind. Let's just go with the blocky look for now. We can hide the layout and then we can just duplicate this plank around. And then we can actually go ahead and delete this thing. Okay, that we made. And now we're starting to model something that fits, you know, the layout we had. And we can go as complex or as simple as we want with these models, you know. So we kind of get something already that looks sort of like a bridge. And then we go ahead and we make that. And you know, since this is supposed to be an Unreal stream, I'll actually... Oops. So... Go ahead and do that. Okay, so right now we can sort of make pieces of stuff. So I'll say this looks like a good piece to work with, so I'm gonna combine that. You can kind of imagine this is like a bridge piece. This could be a bridge piece. So I'm gonna select all those things here, then join it. So you can kind of imagine it like Lego bricks, right? So right now we're creating the Lego bricks. Okay. And then this pillar here is a Lego brick for itself. These things are Lego bricks. Let's go ahead and export this and see where it takes us inside Unreal Engine. So we can click B, make a big selection around everything, and then export. So Unreal Engine assets, and then we can call this bridge assets. You can call them whatever you want. Selected objects is important here because we don't want to export the whole layout, right? So only the stuff that we have selected. Export FBX. And now we go back into Unreal Engine. And then we can import. So I made an imported assets here, but it became messy real quickly. So I'll make a new folder and call this beach car. Click one end, shift select the other end and put it inside. Okay, now we can make a new folder, call it bridge assets. Okay, left click, drag and drop. And then it's important that we go into the setting that we had before where it says combine meshes and then turn that off. Because we want to be able to use these pieces that we just made like Lego bricks. Okay. So now we have a bunch of stuff to play with. We have a bunch of pillars here that wasn't very smart. But we do see the big pieces that we made. So you can pull them in. Oh, hold up. The origin actually got messed up a little bit. That's not good. Okay. Let's see if there's a setting for that. Okay, so for us to be able to really use these things like Lego bricks, we need to make sure that the origin point is not super far away. So we can select all our objects and then say, okay, so first we gotta do cursor to world origin, which is this little 3D tool that we use. So Shift S, cursor to world origin, select all your stuff and then say selection to cursor. Okay, selection to cursor. So we want to use this pillar here, selection to cursor. This piece right here, selection to cursor. This, selection to cursor. And maybe this piece here, selection to cursor. So let's do it in a little bit more clean way. So now what we did is we took all these objects and we moved it to the middle just so Unreal Engine knows where they're supposed to be. So these things here, if I already placed the object in the correct place, well, I mean, so the thing is, the way we just did it, right? If we import them here and we put this pillar in, it comes in with a bunch of translations. But if we zero these out, then you see it should be in the correct place, right? So you can put in all your objects if you want. You can also combine them to one mesh and then import them this way. And you see they're in the right space if they just have zero translation on them. Yeah. So if you already placed them correctly in Blender, you can do as I'm doing now. You can import them and then you can put zero inside the translation. Then you start getting something like that. So you can do it that way. That's completely legitimate. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to make a couple of Lego bricks that we can play with, if that makes sense. So because this is in the right place inside Blender, it actually becomes difficult to play with because the origin is all the way over here. Okay, so right now I'm moving the Lego bricks into the center and we can select all of those. So we can move this one in the middle too. We can move this one up a little bit. It's more flexible, yeah, exactly. So now we can select all of these and we can say export FBX, and we can call it bridge assets 2. So selected objects, export, and then when we go into Unreal Engine, we can delete all our old stuff. So this is like 2 different ways of importing stuff, right? One is more Lego bricks, kinda, and then the other one is like where you model it in the exact right spot. There's no right or wrong here. So now when we import our bridge asset, you see, it is something that we can just move around and use like a little piece of something. We can give it a material if we want to. So you can right click here and then you can make a material. We can call this bridge 1. Hold on. Is there an easy way to do this? Okay, maybe let's not mess with that right now. If you want to give them colors, you can also do it. You know, if you went into and you imported like your beach car or something, there should be a bunch of materials too that you can give it for now. It's not overcomplicated right away. Okay, so these are all things that you made inside Blender. Yeah, let's not overcomplicate it right now. Okay, so we have our Lego pieces and we can just start importing them and put them in. Boop, something like this. Okay, let's just start putting stuff in. We want these pillars here. Ooh. And I hope from this, you know, this is no Tomb Raider or something like that, right? But you should be able to see how the base principle works of this, because you can import as detailed as a model that you want, right? You can spend 100 hours on a bridge and then import it into the engine. If you want this to snap to the ground, you can enable snapping up here. So this little button, surface snapping, then it will snap if you put the pivot correctly. Control V, Control C, duplicate it around. Okay, can delete these right here. Then very quickly we're actually modeling out our level. It's kind of cool. And we can keep going with these little, so let's turn off the surface snapping again. We can keep going with these Lego bricks that we've made. Okay, then we can just delete the block that we had underneath. I mean, so if we want to, So right now we have our Lego bricks down in the library, right? And it's like a thing to understand about Unreal Engine. We can change our Lego bricks too. So if we double click like a bridge asset down here, it opens a little menu and this says everything about our Lego brick. Okay? And in here we can also pick a material for it, okay? So if we pick the brown one, all our Lego bricks will now be that color unless we specify it otherwise. So if we take the sloped one, so you have multiple slopes here without color, we can go in and we can pick a material and then all of them change. Okay. So if we take our pillar, we can go in and we can pick a material. And there's some materials in here by default. So we can sort of do that. We can get something quickly. So for our pillar, let's pick an appropriate material. Let's see if there is something in here just called gray. Ah, okay. It's fine. We go with like a white marble kind of thing. It kind of fits with the blue van, maybe like a Mediterranean sort of vibe. So it was called ring. We can go ahead and apply that here too. Maybe the ground will be a different color. Solid blue, so you can imagine that would be like an ocean or something like that. It's kind of starting to look a little bit nice. So let's go in and actually let's keep the bridge up. You can copy these over to the other side. How about we make this part like a beach or something like that? So give this like a sand type of material. So to win, you gotta get to the beach. We can just copy over the flat piece here. And you know, in reality, like you don't need to make an angled piece and then a flat piece. Like you can just rotate your flat piece. Like that totally works too. And then you can combine these in different ways. If you want to make like a jump somewhere, you can do that, right? So let's say we want to make a jump right here. Copy this over. We basically just have a short and a long piece that we can rotate. So there's a little jump at the end here. So I think maybe at this point, Björn, you can kind of see why I would use sort of the Lego bricks, because it gives us a lot of flexibility in the way we want to design and make our little level. So we kind of have this. True, yeah. So let's see if we can play on it. Oops. So, oh, I just clicked something. I do not know what it is. Okay. So I accidentally changed the perspective. If you go up here, you can change the perspective too. So I almost got a jump scare there because I thought I was about to crash. So remember to save. So you can click save all. You can say save current level as. So you can call this bridge map. Save it in. Now your map is saved. Okay, right. So these things, we gotta delete them. Okay, so what's happening here, if you ever end up in this situation that I just got in, it is because Unreal Engine is trying to make colliders for us. Okay, so this collider is a little bit goofy, it doesn't really fit the mesh correctly, so we gotta go in and change the Lego brick to have a better collider. And Lego brick in this case is our little slanted piece here. So we can double click on it, and then let's just search for collision. And then, so we can show it here to kind of visualize. So what we have, collision complexity by default is just simple. So it makes a rough estimate, but we can change this to complex. Okay, so use complex collision as simple. So now we'll do that for all the Lego bricks, and then when we play, we should be able to just jump on it like any other. Now we have a jump at the end, and then we get to our beach. And we can do the same for this. So if we go to our beach car, we can double click this. At the very top, just search for collision. Collision. And then collision complexity, use complex collision. Okay. And now when we play it, we can jump across here. Whoop whoop. And then we win. We get some cakes in our little beach car. Okay, great. So we can hide the collision again here. I hope like the very base sort of sense of how I'm working is kind of making sense for you all, right? Okay, let's go back into Blender and do some piece for this like little middle sort of pillar thing here. So we can unhide our layout. Okay, let's think about it. So we can add a cube right now, move it in. Scale it up to fit a little bit. Okay, go into edit mode. It is making sense, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, just using the basic modeling tools. And then we can make it a little bit cleaner than what we had before. So we can hide the layout. Actually, let's move this up a little bit. Okay. Control R to put in some edge loops. You know, you could work with the mirror modifier if you want to here. I would recommend that if you know how to do that. Okay. You can just duplicate this, to be honest. Move it up. Oops. So RY 180, rotate it 180 degrees on the y-axis. Hide the layout, and then be careful of this kind of stuff. That happens when two surfaces are exactly on top of each other. So we can just scale that down a little bit. So tab to go into edit mode, E to extrude, make some kind of shape. You don't see your start point anymore. You can search for a player start, and you can see you might have accidentally clicked the hide button. So on the outliner you can search for player start. If you don't see a player start, you can open this window here. You might not have it. Window, and then you go place actors. Actors are like objects in your scene, and then you can pull in a player start here. Hope that helped. We can make a cool little design if we want to. Maybe we can totally just delete this part down here. So selecting both sides and clicking F to put a face there. I can find it in the search, but the icon is a small white ball. Like I'm in some mode. Don't know, but got it. Interesting. Does it work now? So you can just fill this in. You know, everybody can model whatever it is that they see fit. Let's just do something like that for now. Control J to join them together. You know, hold up. Before we do that, we might actually just do this. Kind of gave a little bit of an interesting shape there. Okay, Control J to combine it. You can move it to the middle. So you can do selection to cursor, or you can just move it manually. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, and then we can select this one thing and then click export. And we can call it middle bridge thing. Selected objects, okay. Then we can import it, import all. We can delete our old cubes. Okay, we can go in and we can give it the same white material that our pillars have. Then we can play it. Okay, and then we have the collision issue. So remember, you go in, you search for collision, and we gotta make it complex. I press G. Ah, okay. So we can set the complex collision, go back in. And we can walk through it. Hey. Amazing. It's a cute little scene. How about we keep decorating it a little bit? So you can always pull in other stuff that you've made or you've found. So I think I'll use the last couple minutes just pulling in stuff. I think is cute. So how about we go back into our beach scene, because I want some more of those palms. So how about we import a palm tree just by itself? So we're gonna make a selection of just that. And then we can move it to the middle. So it becomes easier to work with, and then export FBX. We can call this one palm tree. Export only is selected. Go into Unreal Engine. Then we have a palm tree. And then we gotta remember to go into Mesh, Advanced, and then Combine Meshes. And now we have a palm tree we can use. Let's figure out what the right size would be for it. Probably a little bit bigger than that. There we go. Then we can copy this around if we want to. Okay, it's looking real cute. Let's go. It's looking nice. If we want to, we can also start importing. Let's say we want to make like a beachy area, so we can import this thing by itself. Okay, so you just take your selection, export FBX, then do only the selected, and we can call this one, what should we call it? Table with parasol. Export, and then we can, maybe we should import it into the beach car area. Okay, import all with the combined meshes ticked on. Then we have a little beach parasol. Okay. We can go in, we can export the chair too if we want to. And now we have like a bunch of Lego bricks we can play with. I keep going on about the Lego bricks, but it is sort of like the thing to get about working with Unreal Engine, right? Like you just put together all the things. So we call this one beach chair. And you know, if you don't have stuff that you've made yourself, you can also just find stuff online, you know, that kind of thing. So we can copy these together and move them. So very quickly we're getting something that's sort of nice. I'm gonna try something a little bit crazy here. sort of sweet. Might be a little bit too much, you know. Okay. See if we can find something else we've also made. So here's a little safari dude that I made. We can export him. Safari dude. Export. And if there's any questions, always feel free to ask. Oop. So we got this little dude in here. It can be like a little statue on top. It's kind of cool. Okay, we are about nearing the end of the live stream already. Very cute. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we kind of, in a very short amount of time, modeled a whole level for a game. A very simple level, but a level nonetheless. Something that you can iterate on and make more complex if you need to. So, yeah, we're getting about to the end. So how did it go for people? Is it kind of making a little bit of sense? Are you all able to do something that is your own? Of course, I don't expect exact copies of what I did. I would actually prefer, you know, everybody doing their own thing. I think that's kind of cool. And, you know, I hope this whole thing was informative. So I'll be looking at the Discord. I'll be posting my stuff here, because now it's, you know, getting to the end of the whole thing. Yeah, so Katrin already worked. Yep, I see you. That looks like a fun jumping puzzle. Insanely complicated. Guessing that's the goal right there. And we start here. Go jump across. It's very cool. I kind of want to play that. I kind of want to see you play that. I'll give that a heart. Yeah, so here near the end, if you're new to the stream, what I do is I look through what everybody has made, because I like doing that. So if you have something, feel free to take a screenshot, a picture, whatever you need to do, and post it in the chat. I'd love to see it. So I'll do the same with mine right now. Hold up, hold up, hold up. I'm looking for the perfect angle. Maybe one like right here. I saw you guys post. It looks really cool. Just give me a second. So I'll post too. We can all post together. Whoops. Okay, whoop. Copy that. So here we go. Yeah, it's all about the learning, Björn. Don't worry about it. Let me take a look at it. Just give me a second. Say, here's my level for the Unreal Engine level design bootcamp. Okay. Whoops, that was not the right one. Yeah. That is super cute. Definitely with the whole beach theme. You get a heart too. Very nice. Yeah, it's all about the learning. I definitely see the car in there. Start here. Wait, is this actually like, oh, you can actually play this, can you? Like right there, there, down, or maybe just down and then, or you start right here, up, boop, 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 across here. Did you actually play this? Is it possible to win it? It looks very funky and cool. I like that. Definitely going with the summer beach theme. Total Wipeout. Yeah. The fucking that TV. Yeah, exactly. Wipeout. True. It is kind of that very brightly colored. That is playable. Okay, that's sick. I wonder where the ground came from. How you made that. Super cool, Björn. Oh, that's awesome. I'm happy to see it. I love that. Okay, Clarissa showing off with a beautiful illustration. I'll give that a heart. That's awesome. Good job. I like that. Okay. So, are there any submissions coming in, or should we call that a day? Let me know in the chat. I hope you all enjoyed and got something out of today. Snow from the sunny car scene. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see you have that right here. Awesome, Björn. So you did kind of get to reuse some of the parts, like the palms too and all that. That's cool. Yeah, all about the Lego brick attitude. Okay, more stuff from Katrin. Let's see it. Looks like a fucking challenge. You know, I like the subtle lighting. Just getting something in there. Yeah, awesome. Kind of want to play it. Okay, everybody. So that's it for me today. I hope you all got something out of it, learned something. Happy we did it together. Happy to see your submissions and all that. I would also say that it's worth a like on YouTube, Björn. I would say that. So if you haven't already, do feel free to like it. I hate going all YouTuber mode on everybody, but you know, it is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it. I'll be here again next Wednesday, same place, same time. We'll go back to sculpting. Fun project, hell yeah, alright. Okay, everybody, that's it. I'll be going offline. Hope to see you all again next time. Same place. All that, we're doing sculpting. And that should be a lot of fun, so see you all. We might be doing Blender sculpting again. So, look forward to that. Okay, bye bye everybody. Have a good rest of your evening.